Hello, it's Sandy, and I'm back at the Babylock Solaris machine, and I'm working on more machine embroidery. I had to do this one. I had it in the pipeline ready to get done. This is actually for myself. It is a test using a lightweight sweater, which I'll show you in a minute. So on the screen, you see it's a butterfly, and this butterfly is from urbanthreads.com. It looked very simple because it's only like 6 thread colors and then one more that I used for that box around the butterfly. I was trying to stabilize it as much as I could because I saw that it had close to 46,000 stitches. So initially I stitched using a 12/80 universal needle because I was having good luck with that with the fox. I had really good luck with the fox embroidery I did the other day, and there's a video out there about that. I had it's like I said, 6 plus 1 thread color changes, so that's not bad compared to some of the others I've done. 500 stitches per minute. I slowed it to because I didn't know what to expect when I did this one. And initially I didn't change my embroidery foot height, but as this pattern continued to stitch over and over and over, I thought I should raise it up. I think that's at 0.80 or something like that. So I just kept my eye on that. And I've been stitching for quite a while, and I was doing super well. And then when it got super dense on this left side, on this side, I started getting some fraying. So then I went back to a 14/90 needle because it was so dense. I thought maybe if I use a larger needle, it'll poke through that dense fabric and stop fraying my thread. It is an embroidery needle. Based on my research, if you use an embroidery needle versus a universal needle, there's the back, that little groove in the back. I forget what it's called. It's in the back of the needle. It's supposed to help your thread get through without so much strain on the thread. So I thought, okay, well, we'll see how this goes. Now I'm at the part where, let's see, there's 81 minutes that I've stitched. It's gone longer than that because I've had several thread breaks trying to figure out which needle I should use. So now you can see, well, maybe you can't see, 93 minutes is the total, so there's 12 minutes left, and I thought I would share that part with you. So we'll go over to here. And it is stitching out nice. This is a really soft sweater. I didn't know if I should even bother trying putting something on this, but I have another sweater that's like this. The fabric content is just slightly different, but it seemed to wash up okay. And I got it at my local Walmart, and I think it was only like $11. So I figured I could experiment on this. And so what I did was, well, just let me share with you that the fabric is 73% rayon, 23% polyester, and 4% spandex. And because it had all that stretch in there, I used, I ironed on one layer of like medium weight. Maybe I should have used lightweight, but I used like a medium weight, really soft, stabilizer, fusible to the back, and that didn't seem like it was enough. So then I ironed on one more layer of cutaway, and that one wasn't as soft, but it gave it some structure, and it wasn't as stretchy. And then I floated one layer of really lightweight tearaway in the back. On the top I have the water soluble because it is a knit, and I was afraid the stitches would go into the knit. I don't even know that I should be messing with this kind of fabric, but I wanted to try because this pattern is so cute. Now, when I look on here, it doesn't look as dense. And I'll tell you more about, I'm not starting stitching like I normally do when I tell you some of these things because of the thread breaking and the needle issues. And so I really want to watch it. Let's see, when I did the fox last time, that last video, I was having issues with fraying, so I think I got to keep looking for more. You know, they say that you can use this or that needle, that it doesn't have to be embroidery needle, but in this case, I'm finding that in order for this needle to get through this really dense stitching, that it needed it. So we'll see if we get through it. Since I changed it, it's done this satin stitching on top of these 3 layers of stitching. And knock wood, everything is stitching out okay. Let's see here. What else do I? I'll just start and we'll see how it goes. I'm going to move you back a little bit though. There. Hopefully that's good. So, yeah, I think I have to actually cut the thread because it was fraying, and I need to fix that before I continue. See this down here? It's frayed. So then normally what I do is I pull it through. I make sure that I can see it coming from the spool, and then I back up. I don't want to back up too many stitches because it is, you know, there's so many stitches already. There. Now I'm going to do one secure stitch. See how it's just really having a hard time? You know, I worked with another pattern like this that was like this, and I really had to slow it down. So I'm going to try going down to 350 because I was at 500 because I was having better luck, and we'll see how it goes. I'm just going to try and help it a little bit. See, now it's doing the satin stitch. Yeah, so it did that okay, knock wood. I think slowing it down when it gets to super dense area like this helps. I tried using my hoop guard on this side. It's not tall enough. They say you're supposed to use it on this side. I almost think you could use one on both sides. But this one would be more helpful if it was a little higher. Nope, I'm going to see. Yeah, I see some fraying there. So I'm going to cut this again. I don't like that. I'm just so close. All right, I'm just going to cut this here and pull it through totally. I'm going to go back. I didn't really want to do that. So I'll go there and see what happens. If you have any helpful hints for if you run into this kind of a problem, you know, I had to stabilize it, I think, the way I did because it's stretchy. Okay, now if I hold my stop button, I can see if it's going to stitch out okay, get past the hard part. I heard it like, it doesn't seem like it's super happy. I can hear it like in the bobbin area sometimes. And I just rewound a bobbin using the machine. I thought maybe I had issues with fraying before because I had used a different bobbin winder, but they worked before with the other bobbins that bobbin winder worked before with the other bobbins that I made pre-wound. So I didn't think it was that. I think it's just the fact that it's so dense. I mean, you can see back here. See, did you hear that? I got to check. I think it's just so dense. It's pulling. Yeah, you know, I heard that sound now and then when I'm stitching. And I checked the back to make sure you know, it wasn't getting all clumped up together, that thread in the back, but it was okay. So I think I just cleaned my bobbin case, so it can't be that. I think it's just because this is so dense. Initially, when I stitched out these first 2 layers, I would say everything was okay. So I might call Urban Threads because I didn't have this problem with... I'm going to stop it because I heard that noise again. I don't see any frayed thread. You know, maybe they have some helpful hints. It is stitching out pretty, even though it's making some noises. And I was just reading the other day that these machines can stitch out on balsam wood. I never heard of that. I mean, I know that a Cricut machine can cut balsam wood. I had no idea that the machine could do something like that. I'm not ready to do that yet. I've got all these ideas of what I want to go on to next. I want to keep my machine happy. So I just heard it. I could see actually it start to pull up. Well, I think it's okay. It's too bad I have to babysit this part of the embroidery so much. And it's making those little dot spots really pretty. And again, when I'm done, I'll tear away the water-soluble stabilizer that I put on top. And we'll cut away the cutaway on back. And I'm probably gonna, sometimes when I have a pattern like this, it will just tear away, the top water soluble will just tear away because the stitches have been so dense that there's not much of anything left to wash away. Now the design that I worked on for the fox, the videos before this, there was a lot to wash away. I see it. Here we go. You know, it could be that it's starting to fray and I don't see it. Look at that. I can't even cut it off. So frustrating. So I was saying that the fox embroidery that I just did was not as dense, and so I'm going to look at that closer. I see some more frays. I think I've got to get all that cleaned up. It's when it gets so dense like this, it's hard for me to actually see where it stopped. I'm going to do that locking stitch, and then I'm going to tell it to go. And I have to raise the foot because I see more. Really hard to see the cream against the cream. And then make sure you don't actually cut the thread. Nope, it did not. It came unthreaded. I'm so sorry. I'm going to go back this up, rethread it. Maybe it didn't thread. Okay, do the stitch. Raise the foot. Get rid of the fray. Hopefully it will continue to stitch. It's doing the inside. So right now there's like 3 or 4 layers of stitching. I don't know. I thought that this pattern would be okay for my machine, but it's really struggling. It's doing a satin stitch now. I thought maybe if I held it like this. You can see how dense it is because it looks a little waffly. But I think normally I had another design like this get really stressed. It looked like it was really stressed, but then when I pressed it, the fibers relaxed and it was fine. So hopefully it'll be the same with this one. Doing the other petal, it looks like. This is where it frays, in that center where it is so dense. It gets stuck, I think. Oh my gosh. I'd be amazed if this actually gets finished. So I sit there and I think, should I keep recording or should I just delete this video? But, you know, you guys tell me if there is somebody watching. I think it probably went, I'm going to go back 10. Gosh, I hate to go back that far, but I got to make sure I cover that because this is the inside of the flower. It's only going 350 stitches per minute. I am holding this start stop button because I learned that that's how you can make it go slow, even slower than 350 stitches per minute. And I'm just watching it sew just to see if I can see why it's doing what it's doing. And all I can see is that with all of these layers of stitching, you know, usually when I see it looping like that, that means it's missing a stitch. So that could be what's happening when I stitch. And then when it loops, when it's looping like that, it's probably stitching over the loop, maybe causing that thread to fray. We might be past the worst. Well, at least I could see what was happening there. This is urbanthreads.com design, and maybe, you know, it would be fine on something else. I'm probably going to try it on regular cotton, where I don't have to use as much stabilizer, so that it does not stretch. And I'm sure it'll be beautiful. Just doing the outlining, it looks like. Oh no, the dots, more dots. There's 9 minutes left, but I heard that noise again. Yeah. Okay. And when I hear that noise, I like to look at the back of the fabric to see if, like, it's creating a big clump of bobbin fabric, bobbin thread, but knock wood, it has not done that. It's just, I think, like I said, probably too many times now. It's because the pattern is so dense. I can see something. No, see, I think what I'm seeing is it looping. I'm using a 1490 embroidery needle only because It's, you know, it's lightweight fabric. This is, might look thick, but it's pretty, it's kind of thin. So I started off with the 1280, and now I'm at the 1490. Okay, so I got to change threads, thankfully. That one took a long time to stitch out. So now all I need to do is the middle of the flowers. Oh boy, I say all, but that's gonna be super duper dense. Just threading the machine. I really think if Babylock makes a new machine, they should make it so we can actually see in this area to see like if there's any threads caught. It's unfortunate that, you know, in order to see that, we have to get it cleaned out if we think there's something wrong. That's so basic. I think that we should be able to get in there and check it without having to take it in. But I really love the machine. I can't complain. It's going to fill in. Oh boy, there's a beautiful stitch. I hope it's going to do it okay. I got this machine at a local sewing store near me called the Sewing Source of Lake Villa. And if you're interested, in my description, their store is, I put a link to the store there. I'm using the magnetic hoop by Dime. And this hoop guard is also from Dime. I also got that from my local sewing store. It is doing a pretty dense center stitch. I say my little prayer that it could actually complete this. I was thinking, this one is probably going to go better than the fox, and the fox went pretty well. It's just I had trouble with threads breaking, so I'm going to have to call Urban Threads just to see if they have any recommendations with something dense like this. What kind of needle and what kind of stabilizer would they recommend? The fox would have been perfectly, I mean, it turned out really great, but I had thread breakage, and I tried all different kinds of needles, and I ended up using a 1280, and it was working out okay. This one, I started off with the 1280. I've heard so many people say you can use that kind of needle in embroidery. When it got to this dense side, I had a lot of that fraying again, so I switched to a 1490 embroidery needle. It should be able to handle it, if it can, in my opinion. Well, I like how it's stitching out, really pretty. It's got one more of those to do here, and then the middle stem, I think. Not the stem, the middle part of the butterfly. I should know that from science class when I was growing up. We learned all the parts. And there's one of them. It's not the proboscis. There's like antenna. There's an antennae, and there's the body. I shared with whoever was watching in the last video that I continue to do research on needles and learning all about them, the different parts of the needle, what to use for what. And I get conflicting things. one person will say one thing, another will say another. I think if I call Urban Threads, they would give me great information to use for the next time I stitch this out. Beautiful design. Yep, love doing this machine embroidery. Sometimes when you have the thread, you know, initially when I was stitching this out, the first 2 layers, the first part was this beautiful peachy color, and then the purple. That was not, I heard that one break. It's not even there. Huh, did it pull? It's not frayed. Not sure what happened. So I will have to back it up again. Do a secure stitch. Trim this thread. And go. I was saying that it started with this color, peachy color, and then I went to the purple, and it was doing stitching everywhere. It was like the first layer, and then the second layer was on top of the first layer, and then the third layer was this beautiful, I think it was the yellow. Yeah, this yellow. That one took a long time to stitch out. And then this was the next layer. Pretty coppery color that it's doing now. And it does go back and forth. Very dense. This is just this not the placement, the tack down, I think it's called, and it is going to do a really pretty satin stitch over that. Got it going at 350 stitches per minute since we're in a very dense area of the design. You know, when I first stitched this out, I was unsure. It was just like the fox I did. And as I was stitching it out, I was like, I don't know if this is going to look good on the sweatshirt with the fox. But by the time it was done, it was gorgeous. And the same thing on here. As you're stitching these kinds of things out, sometimes they're just, you just gotta wonder if they're gonna turn out how you imagine them. Imagine that they would. And this one is pretty. I won't know until I actually take this water-soluble stuff off. And but I think it's a really pretty design. I think definitely would show up better on black. I saw this picture and I thought it would be pretty because it was looking kind of lacy to me. I thought it would look good on this because it wasn't going to be too much stitching, but now that it's stitched out, I'm kind of glad it did have a lot of stitching because that will help it to show up. But it definitely would have turned out better on something darker. But I'm doing trial and error. I've been on this journey to learning how to use my machine, doing different kinds of machine embroidery. I did couching in the beginning, so there's a couple of videos out there about that. And I'm doing a lot of some gifts. I'll be doing more gifts. I definitely want to start diving into the scanning part, the IQ designer / scanning part of the machine. So there's a lot of learning to do and projects to do still. But my goal with all the way I stabilized it was that you know, gotta stop the stretch, because you don't want it like pulling up from all the different angles. So let's see how it looks. I guess I'll back you up. Sorry if that made you dizzy. There it is. Let's see if I can just take some of this off so we can get a better idea. I guess I will have to rinse it. I was starting to say, I think, before I broke a thread at one point, that a lot of times if there's a lot of dense stitching, you don't have to. I don't want to take too much off because I should take out the basting, but you can kind of get an idea that it is a darker background. It's just that this wash away stuff made it look like a light gray. So it will look pretty. And then I'm going to probably turn it inside out after I get most of this water soluble stuff. I'm probably going to run it through the gentle cycle. And then what's it say? Let's look at the back too. So the back isn't bad. Whoop, can you see that? I mean, I'm gonna have to clip some threads, and it did have some hiccups. Be honest, this part looks like it went better than that part, and I would agree that the right side of that butterfly had fewer problems than this side, and this side was a lot denser. So I'll take this basting stitch out, tear this away, cut this away. And, you know, maybe I only needed one layer of this cutaway stuff, but there was stretch. Here's the, whoops. Here's the, hopefully you can see this because I can't see very good in my phone. So here's the 2 layers that I ironed together. This is like a very, kind of reminds me of a very soft, it's a stabilizer. I got it from my local sewing shop owner. She gave me a piece to try, and so I used it on this just because it's, look at this fabric. Very stitchy, stretchy, but very, very soft. It's very fuzzy, soft. Kind of feels like Angora, but not as furry. And it's definitely not Angora. It's not an animal fabric. It's and there's no stretching back here. See, you can't see stretching here. You can't see it there. So I think what I did served the right purpose of preventing this very stretched garment from stretching while I decided to be a brave soul and or maybe crazy and do this machine embroidery. It is a little, you can see it is a little bit warped, but I think it's because that's like how the fabric was trying to handle all the stitches, and it did a beautiful job, really. Oh, I meant to say that sometimes when I am doing a project that's not stretchy, I won't do it with this one, but like with that sweatshirt I did with the fox on it, because I had water soluble stabilizer in all these little nooks and crannies, and I had to use my little wet rag to get it off. Well, sometimes if there's so much in there, I'll just put it on a hanger and I'll use my spray wash in the shower, and then I'll just let it drip dry in the shower. And that's been very helpful. So anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you like what I'm doing, make a comment and give a like and subscribe. So I hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching. It was fun.